Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome everyone to HTCC. I didn't think I was going to be in this chair anytime soon, but it's good to be here. My name is not Hokey. In fact, he's in my chat. You've been banished. Sorry, brother. Sometimes it be like that. But hello everyone. My name is Ben Sapsford, aka Sapitron, and I will be your guide and I will be your host. Alright? Through the third round of HTCC. Now, we've had a good few rounds. We've had, of course, Tor Poznan last time out, and we had Scuba Circuit to open up the season. Now, tonight is going to be a good one. It's going to be great fun. I think we're going to enjoy it, both from the spectators' point of view and for everyone racing. Looking like quite an interesting matchup in certainly the couple of splits that we've got in store for you today. We got the British edition of HTCC for you this evening, and where are we going? It's the Lodge. So we're heading over to the Lodge. Not sure what's happened with my camera. I have been banished to the Shadow Realm, but it is a cozy track, a quality one at that. It's a 2.6 kilometer romp, and it's 21 laps. Hokey is viciously fighting to try and take back control. This is the fight. This is the battle that you see before you right here. Now, I've got to say, it's a technical track. You can see from the overhead, courtesy of the amazing graphics team, courtesy of Army and Co. It's got quite a lot of heavy braking zones. You've got the two primary sort of hairpins. You've got a couple of 90-degree corners as well, sort of cap off the lap. And a little bit of a chance to extend the track at points as well. Now, whether that's going to gain you time or not is up for debate. But it is that extra track space that you can leverage in your favour. And with only 1.6 miles, it is going to be pretty tight and sharp laps. So key overtaking opportunities, you're going to be looking at places like some of the 90 degrees. Maybe just coming out of one of the 180-degree corners. And we'll see where the racers land themselves. There is some great lore behind this track. I know that you wanted to join us here. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite possible. Sorry, I never answered that DM, Carls, but it is quite a track with a little bit of lore and history behind it. So, great track, of course. And, of course, all of the makers of the tracks and makers of all the graphics of the team behind it do deserve a special shout. And there we go. I'm back. I'm back in the frame. I'm back in the fore. And good to not be banished anymore. But we will be soon heading out to see what these drivers are capable of and what they are going to be bringing to the table. So, first things first, if you are excited for the track, let us know in the chat. If you are excited for... I duplicated there. That's a new one. If you are excited for what we have in store, let us know, as well as the drivers that we have got up for grabs in terms of Split 2 and Split 1. So we're going to be starting off with Split 2, and then we'll be moving on to Split 1. So we've got some pretty good drivers coming up in Split 2, and we'll of course get a chance to see them all in full, as the lobbies are just getting formed up as we speak. So we have got, in no particular order, and they're going through qualifying here. Got the spreadsheet up right now. We have got LAS Dark in the lead of Split 2 with a 106.257. So only 1 minute laps. Again, quite short. And with the 20-minute races, it's going to be an interesting one with the 21 laps, plus the formation, of course. Got to keep that one in mind. And we've got Dark, Bearfields, Godly, Mr. Gilman. We've got MX, so we'll be spending plenty of time with them, I'm sure. We have also got the likes of Juice Loose, Noctrian, Oceanics, Master 89, Master Lee 9, my mistake there. We got Trute, the legendary livery maker himself, who was racing in this one, along with Silver Corolla and Sunken 22, aka Harris. It's going to be a good one out here tonight, folks. We've got quite a rivalry, and be sure to stick around as well, because if you think Split 2 is going to be fired up, Split 1 is going to cook even harder. We've got some amazing fights that we're going to be having up at the top end, and we've got ourselves a rainy race. So, for those who haven't been looking at the chat, it's a rainy race, which means that the conditions are going to be a massive factor in these drivers' races, and they're going to have to keep their wits about them. Some of them are already practicing. Juice Loose, we've got who's just finishing a practice BP right now, but the lobby is just forming up together, and we've got a lot of Hyundais. A lot of Hyundais in this roster. I believe we have 8 out of the 12 cars being Hyundais, 3 MGs, and only 1 Lincoln Co. So that, of course, is going to be an interesting dynamic. And we might even see a little bit of counterplay in terms of using the car's characteristics to their full potential. So we are, just final setups here, folks, and then we'll be getting right away with you. Hyundai, of course, is the easiest to obtain out of all of them. But we do also have opportunities for the other drivers, and we might even see some of the HTCC cars, you know, backstage might get added to the pool. Who knows? Who knows, really? We are going to be certainly up for some fanciness in store. My shadow clone, of course, returning to me now that he's had his fun terrorizing Hoki for not being in the casting box himself. I would love to see all the touring cars in the backstage. I would really love it. And I hope that they do get added soon enough. But this is going to be a real test, I think. We're just getting the lobby formed up now. I think we have, I believe, 4 more drivers ready to go, or waiting to go. We're just getting all of the POVs as well, getting set up. And then we will be ready to race, ready to cook, and ready to get things underway. So, yeah, we have 8. I know that MX and Sunken are in another lobby just coming out, I think, of practice, and they'll be joining the lobby soon. And we've got plenty of stories to catch up on. Let's not even forget the wider standings as well, folks, because this is going to be a big race for some of them. MX, for instance, currently the highest placed in the standings out of everyone who's currently in Split 2. Currently 7th, and is going to have to work cut out for them if they want to keep that kind of position. You've got Godly up in 11th, for instance. Bear in 13th. You've got key positions who are going to be having to really fight for it, I think. Of course, we have got a couple of sort of upgrades to the production as well. I was given a little bit of free reign to tinker around, to have a little bit of fun with it. Hence, you might notice a couple of bits are looking a little bit different to usual. So, let us know what you think, of course. You might see some of them more profoundly than others. But we do, of course, want to show off the best that we can in terms of the production and sort of making HTCC as good as it can be. So, let us know what you like, and you approve none of this, and filed shortly after the cast. Yeah, exactly. I got given a blank check. I didn't ask permission, but I got one. And we, of course, see some of the tinkering around and a bit of fun that we're having here. So, fire Hoki for absentee caster. Yeah, what is your attendance record? What is this attendance record, Hoki? Honestly, disappointing. And it's going to be just moments away now, because we have got everyone in the lobby. Got everyone in the convoy, and we're about to go racing. So I think just barring everyone getting their connections stable, sorted, we will be making a proper start now. So let's see what they can do. Just checking up on some of our wider standings as well. We have got a chance for a couple of racers to make a bit of a splash with the 2 races in terms of points. We have got Dark, who of course qualified first for Split 2, currently 16th in the overall standings. A good race here could get themselves really into the heat of things. GRDC, hello my friend, how are you? Good to see friends all around. Removal, Sappy sends his regards. Look at me, I am the captain now. Get ready to launch, send it. Send it, send it, send it. We are ready to go here in the commentary box. How would that... Yeah, how would that work? Because I think the H stands for Horizon, not Hoki. But yep, absolutely send it. We are ready to go here. And we're just seeing if everyone gets to connect up nice and smooth, and then we'll get trackside. Yeah, it's not like it's not like I'm juggling enough as it is, though. I've got so many projects on the back burner. The Liquipedia project has basically iced shortly after I announced it, just because I couldn't logistically do it all. And much on the back burner that I need to address and sort out. But here we go. I think everyone's just readying up now. I'm not sure who is the host here. And also, I believe I missed out a couple of subs. So Neko and now Minero, thank you for the subs as well. I do appreciate it. Yappytron has commenced. Has indeed commenced. And now we get ourselves into the racing. The lobby has been officially confirmed. The event has been officially started. And we're just waiting for everyone's load-ins. We will get trackside in just a moment. But let's do this, folks. Let's see if we can get everyone's POV now working. Looks like we have got either 9 or 10, which lines up pretty nicely with the shortcuts that I have for switching between people's POVs. And I have to say, it's nice to cast FH5 again. It is rather nice to actually cast FH5 again. It's been too long. Been honestly much too long. But here we go. Let's do it. Let's jump in. It's round 3. Let's go. And here we are. Looks like we've got a little bit of a hiccup in terms of the audio capture. So I'll just get that quickly fixed up. There we go. Oki's been banished to the Shadow Realm. But here we nice. Nice and wet, nice and stormy. We're here with the Lodge Raceway. We have all 12 cars. Need to get themselves into formation. Nice. I'm going to switch over to a couple of the other racers. So we've got Bear. Checking in on everyone, making sure they are fully rigged. Got MX. This is rigged. Sorry, brother. I don't make the rules. I just have the skills. Looks like we're mostly on even keel. We're mostly okay. I don't want to say more than that, because I will curse it. Remember, 21 laps of racing. But we have the formation lap 2. Bonus points to MX. They're running a H+ fork. Here are everyone getting into their formation positions. Letting each other file through. Dark is the only link, and is you are correct, Aston, is the only link and the only car in this split to be a unique pick that is starting in P1. I'm going to turn that one right down because of copyrighted music. Sorry, Godly. It be like that sometimes, as you might know. Here we are, everyone getting themselves set. It'll be double file. Formation being set. Looks like it looks like Godly's actual game is offset in their stream. Everyone getting into their desired positions. There we are. Everyone's lining up now. Final corners. Everyone getting in position. I would say the track is hot, but it's sopping wet and freezing cold. But regardless, it's race one of split two here for the third round of HTCC. Let's get it going. Great start right out the gate. Master Lee with a big send down the inside, immediately going for that high aggression, going on the attack, trying to take that point, take that move to the rest of them, getting a nice job done into 6th place. Noctrion and Juice Loose are going to be side by side, but a poor line through the double right-hander. That's going to give an opportunity for Harris, aka Sunken, to go for the chance. Let's check up to the front of the grid. We can see that Godly has managed to get a bit of space between themselves and Dark and MX. So the top three really making a bit of a gap for themselves, managing to get a bit of clean air, and this is going to be what they need. They're looking for the chance just to get a breakaway as the rest of the field starts to squabble. Let's check on with Gilman now, and oh, Gilman's missed a checkpoint. Unfortunate for them. They were fighting side by side, I believe, with Bear, and that is all she wrote, all the way down to P12. Not out of the running yet, because you can see the amount of fighting just happening up ahead. But that is going to be a big damper in their race efforts so early on. It's hard to regain the confidence, although they've already caught up to P11. So I would not count them out by any stretch of the imagination. Goes for the inside, goes to regain, big squeeze along the inside, and that's another checkpoint miss. I think we're far too optimistic there for Mr. Gilman. I've realised I've been saying it Gilman the whole time. For some reason, the mute shortcut not working as intended on my machine. We've got a bit of desaturation happening on Juice Loose stream, but they are finding their own gaps in P11 right now. They'll have to occasionally jump back in, take a look at where they're at. Let's take a look, though, a little bit further up ahead. Noctrion, P9 right now. Watching as Sunken is in P8 and has got a bit of space for themselves. We'll, of course, check up a bit further ahead as well, because I believe Troot is on the back of a bit of a battle right now. You can see Noctrion gaining some major time as well. We are lap 4 now. Everyone's in pretty close proximity, I gotta say. We are Troot, meanwhile, P6, chasing hard, Master Lee and Bear. This could be a heated battle for P4. Let's keep an eye on him. Let's see where he goes with this. Maybe we could capitalise on a little bit of slipstream, as the front three have been fairly quiet up until this point. Ooh, bit of contact between himself and Master Lee. Closing the gap quite nicely. Going for some more aggressive lines. Chasing down. Going for the tee up on the inside. Little bit of defensive driving from Master Lee. Trying to close the gap. Bit of contact between the two. True is going to go on the inside. He is remaining committed. Side by side out the exit. Don't quite have the exit speed though. Master Lee could close this off. Space still being afforded. Shrew with a very nice move down the inside. The second left-hander, the final corner into lap 5. True's going to take P5 here, but this fighting has given Bear a chance to get away. Crucial few tenths of a second being lost is all it takes. Very nice move there, but now has got a bit of their own challenge to make up. Deep apex on the first half, compromising their exit speed a little, and you can see how Bear is now starting to peel a sizable gap away. The front three have kept it fairly clean and quiet. Dark, Godly, and MX all spacing each other out by about half a second. So we'll have to check back with them a little bit later. But for now, the action remains down here. Back on board with Noctrion. They've caught up to Sunken in P8. And they are going to try and play a little bit of catch-up. So he's just trying to close in. Sunken going a little bit wider to try and get the best angle. Noctrion peeking down the inside, not committing fully to it though. A little bit of a slip. Keeping an eye on their rear as well, as Oceanics is going to be waiting in the wings. Like a vulture, whatever the fight comes out between these two, they'll be there waiting to collect the scraps. Little bit aggressive on that first apex, but peeling it out wide, being able to arc yourself back in, keep a smooth line all the way through to the start of the, well, I guess we'll call it the third sector. Yeah, Sunken putting up a good job defending and putting two wheels on the grass. Almost as if you're running the gutters on a toge track. Nicely done there from the both of them, keeping close proximity. Watch how Noctrion is just trying to gauge where Sunken's going to go. They peek a little bit to the left, they watch Sunken, they don't respond to the moves, and oh, out of nowhere, Oceanics peeking the nose in, going for a bit of aggression. You can see Juice is Loose also going to be getting involved, so let's take a look from their POV and see exactly what's happening side by side with Oceanics. Going to go for it into the first corner, remaining tight to the apex. Oceanics is going to drop the position as Juice just had apex control. Bit of a wider line, limited FOV, limiting your options as well from the cockpit view. Oceanics managing to get the position back on the double. Seems to be all the action is down at the back end, as the front six have mostly stabilized and spaced themselves out. This is where everything is heating up. Seeing a couple of FPS drops from Juices Loose's POV directly. As you can see right there, suddenly smooth 60. On the chase. Has an opportunity to really make this work, but just needs to make sure they get that exit speed. Here's the chance. Oceanics with a rough exit, but they seem to be backing out. Not 100% confident in pushing that car despite the stronger exits and better apexes. Oh, again, going a little bit deep. Oceanics just pushing it a little bit too hard in those corners, and it's really compromising some of their race pace. You can see Noctrion and Sunken both getting away here. Juices Loose going narrow, trying to make up for some lost time. It looks like they've fallen away. It hasn't quite worked out in their favor, at least not at this point in time. Oceanics' POV, got the ultra wide going, and much of the same. Both of them running cockpit view. You can see just trying to get a bit of space now to start running some good laps. They need to sort of peel back, maybe brake just 5-10 meters earlier. See, right there, that's the lines that they should be going for, and now they're not under some serious threats. I think that's what they originally intended. Noctrion, though, is going to be another driver that we watch and keep an eye on, as they are still on the back of Sunken. Looks like we've seen an issue a bit further up in the grid as well, as we have seen one of the cars, I think that was Corolla, who we unfortunately don't have a POV for, dropping off, making a major mistake, and not being able to keep up with Master Lee. Lie in wait, watch them go. Commit all the way through the exit, set your line, and then let the car pull you through. Godly going very aggressive in terms of their lines on the track, going way wide as far as they can go. Really carry as much speed as they can, even going four wheels on those grass patches. Very aggressive runs here. Both of them going quite narrow, rather than taking the wide apex on the second half like we've seen so many other drivers do. MX has managed to close a bit of time to Godly now. On the back of the other Hyundai, goes for it! Down through the long left-hander. Is going to make the send, is going to make it work. Quality run there from MX. Is there going to be any response from Godly? That's the question on my mind right now. You can see knocking on the door, metaphorically and physically. I think that was a bit of a rear bumper crunch there. A big send from MX certainly would have caught Godly off guard. And they're just trying to find an opportunity to retake that P2 now. They are not yielding an inch on this. Take a look from Godley's POV on this one. Switch over to his side of things. See exactly how he's going to manage the situation. We'll give him a little bit more sound just as a treat. Even if there is music in the background. I do wish people will be able to isolate their music from their streams if possible. But each to their own. Understand where it is a Twitch POV, not always able to be helped. Ooh, a little bit of a dip on the grass, but a poor exit from MX. This is an opportunity for Godley to retake P2. Goes for it through the first left-hander, confirms it through the second. Nicely done. Both very good corners as they round out the second half, or go into the second half now of the race. Quality move there. The field mostly stabilising now. Juices Loose has made a major mistake and is all the way down in P12 by a significant margin now. I smell a miss checkpoint. I do, in fact, smell one. But back at P10 and P11, Oceanics and Mr. Geeman have got themselves in a bit of a fight of their own. Sunken remains in P8. Noctron in a very similar position. But now Oceanics and Mr. Geeman have been fighting a little bit. He's checking his quarters. Trying to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on from his opponent. Trying to take a little bit of a run here. Noctron trying to alternate lines against Sunken here. Going to get a bit out of the wake. As of course there is plenty of water on the track. Having to be a little bit careful of. Good moves, good hustle here, and consistent lap times. Seen consistently running the 106s for the past few laps now. Solid work here from Geeman. And it looks like Oceanics had a pretty poor turn one as they have dropped off a little bit of time. Leaving Geeman now to put some threat down on Noctron. As Corolla is going to be a bit further up the road in P7, there could be further opportunities there too. Bit of a honk. Let the drivers know they're there. As close as you're going to get to flashing the lights. Goes for the send on the inside. Left-hander. 180 degrees, but one position gained for Geeman. Solid run there. Minimal contact. Goes for it and succeeds. That was quite an impressive move. I say, borders on the edge of a dive and goes for it again. Tries to make it 2 for 2. Little bit dicier this time round. Not quite going to get it as cleanly on Sunken, but holds the apex. The both of them are going to be side by side. Better exit speed from Sunken. Not sure if that was intentional contact or a bit of desync, but regardless, Sunken is going to hold on to P8. Is Geeman going to take it? Big contact between the two. Into the side of the MG here as they fight for scraps. They fight for the position and P8 hangs in the balance. Refuses to relent, saying, I want that position and you are giving it to me. Once again, man, with a solid double overtake. I'm not sure if it's going to be scrutinized at all for some of the contact points, but this has given an opportunity as well for Noctron to make it a P9. Depending on how they get the exit out of this corner, they can see Geeman hasn't been able to get a massive peel away. And Sunken, now likely with the confidence shaken, is going to be a prime target for an overtake. It's the mind games as well. Playing your opponent's mind as well as outracing them on the track. If you can shake the confidence a little bit or use that opportunity, a lot easier to gain those kind of positions. Looks like Sunken's managed to recompose. Not looking as skittish or nervous on the wheel as they once did. Noctron going to try and keep that close proximity, trying to gain time. Geeman has managed to now get a couple of tenths on the likes of Sunken. Oh, bit of an outward slide though, not quite gripping up how they'd like. That's going to give an opportunity for Oceanics. Drag race down through the sector. We're heading into Sector 2 now. Again, a very short track, so plenty of opportunities for some fighting. Gonna hold the apex, still leave the space. Good sport. Nocturne has got this one. They had the better line through. They've had to take a little bit of a compromise. Sunken is a bit further in the distance. And Guiman is going to be much out of contention, at least for the time being. Final quarter of the race here for the first run. Fight is on here. Oh, too deep a little bit. Both of them going a bit too deep, really compromising their lines. Not sure what's happened to MX, however, as they, throughout all of this, have managed to drop down a P5. I believe there was a checkpoint miss involved there. We have seen a checkpoint miss come out, and of course we'll see when the lap time comes through. There you go, they are in their own space. They haven't really got anyone immediately in their vicinity to challenge. And that is going to leave an opportunity for others to maybe make up some time. Nocturne, for instance, going on for the move on Sunken. They're going to go side by side. Coming out into the final sector now, final two corners. Nocturne's going to get a little bit of a run here. Is going to remain in the inside line because they can see Oceanics going to peek through. It's 3 wide into the penultimate corner. Someone's got to yield. It's going to be Sunken getting almost pushed out of this fight into P11. Oceanics really going for it as we head through into lap 17 now. What an insane move. Nocturne was expecting a simple 2-wide overtake to take P9, but Oceanics had other plans. Really sent it from what looked like the back of it. And Sunken is now into P12 as well, because I think they either had a crash or had a checkpoint miss to boot. So now Juices Loose is into P11. And this is going to be tough times for him. Trute has managed to move up in all of this into P4. I think checking with MX, yeah, they did in fact miss a checkpoint earlier. So let's check on board with some of the others. Godly is going to be a couple of seconds away from Bear. And you can see they scrub a little bit of speed on the corners. We stick on board with them just to see what their driving is like. And you can see they almost set the car and then jump on the throttle. Which is one of the quirks, I guess, of handling these front-wheel drive touring cars. Yeah, Sunken unfortunately missed a checkpoint simultaneously, along with losing that battle. So that is going to be a bit of an issue for them. There is still the other race. But time is going to be of the essence here, as we are in the final 5 laps of racing. Nocturne has managed to get it past Oceanics to retake P9 after a heroic move. They haven't been able to hold on to that spot. So now down into the single digits once again. Let's take a look as well at Dark, as they are currently on P1 and have been roughly unchallenged at any point. They're now about 5 seconds clear of Godly, fellow LES driver, and now going to be looking like it's fairly easy pickings. They're the only Link & Co, and they proved that they have the pace and they have the mettle to go for it. See, that's the thing. You have a situation where you can get away from the field, you go for it. Because that is, well, to put it bluntly, where you can have the most boring race, which means the fastest. A boring race is a quiet race, which is a fast race. And Dark has managed to get the opportunity to get away from the field and has effectively gone into hot lap mode. They haven't really found any meaningful challenge, at least in this first race thus far. But for the race 1 of Split 2, it is going to be looking like a fairly stacked and locked in podium. And also noticing some of the weather effects. It looks like Dark's rain is either reduced or is going to be a byproduct of them having low graphics settings on. Yeah, clean and easy run-ins for the top 3. In fact, the top 5 have got no real challenges in the immediate proximity. Closest we've got is, I think, with Noctrion and Oceanics. They've stayed fairly close for the entire race, and looks like there could be more battles on the horizon. As we switch over to their POV for a moment, you see trying to grip up. Looks like they've also got a bit of a fight on their own hands. As they are trying their best to stay close. Not quite happening. Very soon coming up to our final couple of laps. The racers are going to have to bring their A game if they want any position changes through these last couple of moments. Juice is loose. Had a solid start, was fighting, but unfortunate for them, they have not been able to keep proximity to the rest of the pack. And that is a bit of a shame. They still have the other race to make it work, but you can see the confidence is gone. They have overcooked it through some of these corners, and maybe their car is starting to suffer a little bit for it. We are penultimate lap, though, and the field is going to be fairly settled and decided, at least early days. Still have the other race to contend with, but the field is going to be quite an interesting one. And Dark might actually be on track with their first win. I think this is going to be Dark's first split win, so an uneventful but prideful moment for him here if he can make this work. Quality run in there. Also, Darian, thank you for the raid of 14. Welcome everyone in. You're just catching the end of the first race of Split 2. I hope you had a good stream over that side. So we are. Final lap here from the race leader. And has been race leader for the entire race. I think they've had pretty much a perfect first run. And this is going to be setting quite the precedent, as Dark is going to be getting a healthy stack of points. P16 in the standings, remember. This is going to be quite a fortunate turn of events for him. Just got to make it to the end now. A little bit of a nervous moment as he barely held the checkpoint. But there we are, coming across the line. Brilliant run in there from Dark. And that is going to be their first split win, I believe. Seriously clean stuff. And a great run from them. Let's see where the rest of the field wraps it up. Coming through the final few corners, it's going to be Godly in second. Bear in third. Trute has actually missed a checkpoint, so they're going to be down in fifth instead of fourth. And MX is going to re-inherit the fourth place position. Oh, the controller DC'd. Ah, that is it. Unfortunate there, mate. Fortunate to see. But there you go. Final few cars now making their way through. And that is your finishing point. So, couple of wrap-ups. Couple of important things to note. Fastest lap to Dark and perfect race nearly. So 25 minutes almost on the dot. Seriously impressive running. And now is going to be the second race, which does have a bit of an interesting modifier. But I'm not going to spoil the surprise. If you've been here before, you already know how it goes. But for those who are new, you're going to have to wait and see. The Link being clearly a strong choice, but that being said, it might as well just have been up to the fact that Dark managed to get a clean breakaway and was effectively on hot lapping mode. So, solid run for everyone. You have Godly and Bear in second and third. You have MX, Trute, Gearman, Master, Corolla, Noctrion, and then Oceanics, Juice is Loose, and Sunken rounding out your field. So, an interesting race one, to be sure. A very interesting race one indeed. Now, we're going to get ourselves set up for race 2. And we will just be taking a quick moment here. Going to make sure that everyone is in the lobby, sort of coming out. We're going to take a quick moment to just double check that everything is ready. And then we'll be getting ourselves back in. But hey, to those joining in the chat, whether you joined halfway, whether you joined at the start or you've just arrived, welcome. And what did we think of that first race? So, got the third round of the championship. Plenty of points on the table for some drivers who are certainly going to be making quite a jump in the standings. Certainly impressed with Dark because they are going to get quite the points haul from that first race. That is for sure. And looks like we've got a bit of chatter coming through. And yeah, so good to see the drivers joining us in chat as we get ourselves rigged up for race 2. Some solid battles had all around as well. Just checking in with the race chat, making sure that we are all set. My shadow clone is going to be jumping out of there. And we will, of course, have a quick reminder of the kind of race that we are dealing with. It is a 21 lap romp around the Lodge Raceway. We just had quite an exciting first outing. So this is going to be an interesting race too for the split. Of course, we have split 2 and then we have the one and only split 1. So you'll want to stick around from that. There's plenty of stories to be told, plenty of racing to be excited for, and some interesting upsets that I think are going to prove as a bit of a equalizer when it comes to this race. So you'll be wanting to stick around for about half an hour's time when we get to split 1, but for now I think we are rigged and ready for split 2, race 2. Everyone has remained in the lobby, everyone has sort of jumped out of said lobby, and I think we are ready to go. At least barring any final pre-flight checks, that is. I think we are just getting ourselves set up and finalising any maybe last minute changes. Maybe drivers have got to dial in their setups. Maybe they weren't as settled as they were previously. But the event is being initiated. Troop being the host, absolute legend that he is, and getting us set up for Split 2, Race 2. I say, great amount of fun being in here in the commentary box. And I wanted to take a moment while we get ourselves loaded up to thank the HTCC team for the opportunity. To thank Hoki for conveniently being busy and leaving the door unlocked so that I could get into the broadcast studio unencumbered and without any security issues. I wanted to thank, of course, everyone who makes these events possibles, making these events possible. So everyone in graphics, everyone in management, and everyone who comes in to support, and everyone who pings out as well. Where is the metal pipe? Oh, there's only so much room in the box. So the metal pipe had to take a bit of a day off, and they will have their return in future broadcasts. We'll have to, of course, wait and see where they pop up, but don't worry, we miss them just as well. But yeah, go to management and graphics team, exactly. The team that puts HTCC together is insane. Like, the production work that goes into it, especially some of these graphics, is mesmerizing to look at. And as a resident yapper, I'm happy to be here. As a resident yapper of the stream. But enough of that now, because we are about to go racing. We're about to go the race 2. And now it is time for the interesting modifier that makes these second races so interesting. We're going to go trackside and see exactly what is going on. And we will see what they're up to as everyone is now loading in. I say it's weird being this side of the cast. Oh, it's sometimes fun just to watch a cast, and I know that for myself it's a lot of fun being in the box, but it's also sometimes just as fun taking a moment to appreciate being on the other side of it. What a proper cast actually does for a event like this. But here you go. Once again, nice and stormy. Banned from HTCC. Let's go racing. Good luck to all the racers as always. You've had a brilliant race 1. And now, let's flip the script for race 2. Everyone just getting themselves rigged and ready. Things look fairly smooth, I gotta say. Two first try starts in a row. Is it even HTCC anymore? Well, you've got the blessing. You've got the blessing from the Yapatron. That's the only cause for it. Alright, well, let's see. Everyone get into their prime positions. Formation lap is underway. And it's time for everyone to get themselves into their new spots for race 2. Now, the thing is, with race 2, the top 8 finishers start in reverse grid order. So this is where Dark is now going to be starting in P8 instead of P1. Godly's in P7, Bear's in P6, and so on. So this is going to be a massive opportunity for some of the other drivers to get key positions back. P9 through to P12 are unaffected, so unfortunately for Noctron, Oceanic, Sunken, and Juices Loose, they're going to be unaffected. But for Troot, as we saw here, that last minute drop down to P5, that's actually worked out in their favour. But here we go, final corner, everyone's in double file formation. Everyone's raring to go. You can see Corola's going to lead, and immediately a great getaway from Master Lee. They're going to take the position right out of the gate. Going for the move. Troot's going to be on the inside. Massive dive there. I think that was from Godly. Yes, it was. It's 3. It's 4 wide. Everyone's jostling for position. There's only so much track, folks. Give it a bit of a breathing room, can ya? Everyone's jostling to try and get those spots. Corolla with a massive send to try and retake P2. Geeman's got away with it. 2, 3 wide. Contact left, right, and centre. Godly and Bear barely able to make it work as we go around this track. Troot going super defensive before diving back out. Godly committing to the dive. Dark is going on the inside. Serious runs from these drivers as they're all fighting hard for these positions. Troot just trying to make it out alive by the looks of things. Going a little bit defensive where they can, but nobody is expecting the kind of chaos that we've just witnessed too. Godly and MX are going to be drag racing themselves. Bear is going to be tucking in behind, getting a bit of slipstream off of the 2. Boxed in, though, nowhere to go. Troot on the inside of Dark. Careful as they head through that penultimate corner in the first lap here. Things have turned into absolute pandemonium to fight for position early days. We see that the bottom end of the field has mostly settled down. Master Lee, despite that early send and absolutely gunning for it, has dropped down to a fight for P7/P8. So that is going to be a bit of a issue as they have got now an interesting choice to make. Do they continue to push up, make the most of the chaos, or do they try and stabilize, get some ground, and then maybe make some points later? Corolla dropping off at Dark as we have Troot now up into second here. And Godly is hard on the defensive from MX, who's going to go on the inside line. Going to try and go for it, make it work. Makes the send, holds the apex. Great exit there from MX up into P5. Still affording the space to Godly, making sure they can still grab the checkpoints. But going to get the edge out as we head up into the penultimate corner. I'm sure stewarding is going to have an absolute field day with this one when it comes to reviews. But we see a massive three-way fight for P2 here. And we do see, I believe that is going to be Godly, who is looking for a chance further back. Corolla, Dark, and then Troot are also going to be here. The Corolla, with a little bit of a wide exit, is going to compromise that speed heading out of the corner. Going for a bit of early braking, maybe trying to be a bit more careful here after that early chaos. Bit of a punt from the back from Godley is going to see them go side by side as we head into the second sector. Drag racing through, trying to hold the inner line here. MX knows if they can get a good send on the inside, gets boxed in by Corolla. Godley can't take the spot. Gonna try and make it work 2 times in a row here. But Godley's not taking it that easy this time. They had a bit of a better exit compared to MX here. They're going to make contact all the way through the exit and through those chicanes. Final sector now, final couple of corners, continue to duke it out. Dark and True are going to have much of their own battle, and we'll keep an eye on them in a minute also. But Godley's managed to take on P5. Let's take a quick jump over to Dark. G-Man has completely ran away and at least got about a second on the rest of the field, but will we see that last? As Dark is trying to close down on Troot. We'll see the kind of lines they're taking. Bit of a rearward slip. Not quite getting the exit speed as Troot manages to get a better line out. I'm going to need a new set of lungs after this, and I'm sure the funds from HTCC will cover it. I'll cover my expenses, right? Right? Troot is thoroughly locking in right now. He's got a bit of space. He can make this work. And we see a bit more shuffling further down. We're going to jump on board with Oceanics. As we can see, massive fighting between Master Lee and Sunken. Looks like contact all the way through there. As our P9 driver is going to be following behind. Big dip out of that penultimate corner for Sunken. Contact being made as they go on the defensive and on the inside. Yeah, on the inside line, looks like we are seeing a bit of an attack from another driver. Looks like that's going to be Juice there. But remains committed all the way through. Trying to get a bit of an exit, but doesn't quite have the speed. You can see plenty of cars now in their rear view mirror. See, Sunken is trying to fend off. You can see the massive gaggle of cars. Let's take a look forward from Noctrion's POV as this all starts to kick off as the battle at the bottom end continues to rage on. Oceanics, Noctrion side by side. Barely keeping it within the checkpoints as well, Oceanics is. The Juice is going to be down in P12, but nobody is significantly fallen off the deep end, though we have seen a major break at the front end of the field. In fact, MX, Dark, and Troot are all in space, and Dark has just gone for an overtake through turn 1 on Troot. Has gone a little bit deeper on the inside. Troot remains committed to the inside line and onto the apex. Big slide coming there from the link. Barely holds it in control. That's contact between the two of them. And Troot has taken some serious impact. I think we see a yield there from Dark, recognizing the misplay. And he's going to be allowed to retain P2 with the loss of control from the Link & Co. I'd say good sportsmanship there if that was an intentional yield to allow him to retain P2. That's some good sportsmanship being shown. Yeah, a little bit of a dangerous moment there. That could have ended in disaster if they committed all the way to that move. The Dark remains on the back of Troot for now. Eman's got about 2 to 3 seconds off of these two. And this is going to be a crucial factor in the rest of this race. He's got that breakaway. He's not fighting, which means he's not losing time. But the peak time could be lower. That might be what reels them in. Also a case to be made for some slipstream, but that might not be that beneficial here considering how little of this track is geared towards speed. Dark, regardless, gets a better exit on the second half of the corner and is going to be on the inside line, hanging at 2 wheels on the grass. Trout remains committed to the inside though. Not going to take this one down without a fight. We'll see as we head into that left-hander. A little bit deep there for Dark. Maybe setting himself up for a switchback with a later apex. Not going to get afforded the opportunity though. Trout has blocked him off on the chicanes, taking the ideal line. Crafty driving from the both of them here, trying to outplay one another. That's going to be Dark going for the inside. Solid move there, but compromising the exit speed a little. True's going to immediately have it back on the final corner. Turning in a little bit on him. Dark is going to fight that one, but as we head into lap 9, the two remain at odds. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of positions being traded between these two. Excellent switchback from True, despite the early move from Dark there to take the position back. That's almost textbook switchback. Allow him to go deep and then take it back on the exit. True seems to have a little bit of weakness with that wide appeal heading into this second sector here. But he's retaining that position and refusing to be pressured by the LES driver right here. He refuses to take the bait. You see a little bit of a more conservative dive here from Dark this time. Holds the apex, doesn't overextend to allow for the switchback, but they're going to remain side by side as we head through the chicanes. Who's going to take the ideal line? Space being left. True is going to remain in proximity. A little bit of contact between the two. And now it is once again a drag race. Bit of a later braking here from Dark. True trying their best to hang on to this fight. Looks like Dark might have it now because they do have dominance of the corner. Lap 10 now. These two have been fighting for over a lap and a half consistently. Dark going a little bit hesitant in that first corner. Didn't seem like they knew what line they wanted to commit to through that. It is going extremely narrow, barely making it through that first corner, or that second corner I should say, barely heaping the checkpoints. And True does look like they have lost the pace, or lost it to the back, at least for the time being. And that does leave a couple of other battles on the table that we can catch up on. For instance, let's take a look at Godley, another LES driver, who is in a bit of a fight of their own. MX is going to be in their crosshairs this time. And it's time to make this one work. See, coming up on the penultimate corner and coming into the second half of the race. E-Man is still, with that clean break, able to peel out a substantial gap, which has now extended to about 5 seconds. We are lap 11 now. Is there going to be any major moves coming from the likes of Godley, as MX is going to go a little bit wide, a little bit too deep on the exit of the corner. Nicely done from Godley, managing to take the apex into turn 2. Very clean run there. Of course, MX not going to take that one without a fight. But a very nice move through those couple of corners to take P4 away from the Hotline Racer. Where does that leave the rest of the fields? We have a bit of a fight further down. Nocturne once again being in some hot water. Sunken down in P10. Got a bit of a three-way battle going on between the two interior cam runners. Nocturne trying to close a bit of a gap to Bear. It doesn't look like it's quite happening, at least not yet. We'll check back in with him in due course, and when the time is right. But looking back to MX now, this is their chance to retake P4. Put some pressure down on Godley and see if they can get this one to count. Because now Godley's ahead. They don't have a car ahead to really sort of model their driving off. And we're seeing where they're going very wide. Oh, bit of a misgear there. They jumped into reverse for a split second, and that cost them dearly. Corolla is now going to be sniffing out a position. The infamous double downshift cost them dearly. Godley is well and truly out of range for now. They got their own fight to deal with. But they could make some serious time up with some solid driving. And if Godley makes a mistake, they'll be there for the taking. Meanwhile, Dark and True have got a bit of space between each other now. So their fight has settled down a fair bit. And the closest drivers are really the ones at the back. So Sunken, Oceanics and Juices Loose is going to be the closest contest between them all. Looks like their audio is completely desynced. So we'll see if we can get a different view of all of that. We'll take a look on board from Juice's POV. See exactly what's up with that. Oceanics is going to close in hard and try to make up some much needed time. Looks like Troot and Dark have got a bit closer to each other as well, so there'll be another pairing that we get to check in on. A bit of a late shift there, compromising some of their speed. Let's check in with Oceanics as well and see where they are at. Sunken hot on the heels of that red MG. Oh, big contact there between them. Not sure if that was an early or a late break from Oceanics. Not sure if it was early from Sunken or late from Ocean. Either way, they retain proximity, but the talent maybe took a little bit of damage there. We're crossing over that halfway mark. It is now crunch time. If these drivers want to make some moves, now's the real time to do it. Check on a little bit of the fight further up ahead. Looks like we do have a bit of fighting going on between Troot and Dark, because Troot has managed to retake P2 away from Dark right now. And this race has certainly got a little bit more interesting. Let's take a look from Dark's perspective, as they are struggling to keep the car under control. We joined them just as they were fishtailing out of the final corner into lap 15. And certainly going aggressive on some of their lines through these corners. Now, those extends, not sure how much they're going to be able to benefit from that. In fact, goes too wide out and has to yield off the accelerator, so that's going to give even more time to the new driver. But maybe get a little bit back on this through some slipstream, but it's too far away. Not really enough of an aero impact to make a big difference. There's a very good hairpin there. Now for the chicanes. Managed to close a little bit of time there. Commendable from the Lincoln Co. Chasing down. Eking away more and more time with each corner. Looks like they've regained their composure thoroughly. Geeman is still going to be about 5 seconds adrift from these two. And with their constant battling, doesn't look like anything is going to be reeling him in anytime soon. Oh, bit of a bump there from Dark, and is going to get the move. Not sure if that was a little bit of a P2P. But Troot is going to retake it regardless with a bit of better exit speed. Okay, contact, overtake, and then a retake. Not sure if that pass was allowed by Dark there, or was just purely on pace. Either way, reassumed P2, and the fight continues. This is really where the main battle is at right now. P1 is fairly out to sea. They don't really have much in the way of competition, so now our gaze turns to the fight for P2 and the rest of the podium. Because all this fighting, this could benefit Godley as well. If these two continue to trade blows and burn each other's times, we're going to see Godley get involved to make this a three-way battle. Bit of contact on the side panel of Troot there, as Dark is going to go for it down the inside. Going to be going very narrow through this first sector. Looks like Dark has retaken P2. Yeah, a bit of a contact between them. Looks like this fight is well and truly alive, however. As we now fire it down through the chicanes, and then we'll be on that third sector. See if we can jump on board with Bear here. As you can see, they've got a bit of a fight of their own. Noctron is hot on the heels. And chasing on. See, we got Noctrion chasing down. You find the opportunity. Bit of a better exit there for the other Hyundai. Into the final corner. Bear's going to close the door quite rapidly, in fact. New fastest time into the 106s from Noctrion, but compare that to some of the 6.3s and the 6.0 fastest lap at Dark last time round, and you have yourself a bit of a different equation when it comes to pace. A little bit of a rough exit there, burning some time. Need to be a bit narrower on that exit in order to keep up with Bear, and you can see that in full force as they have opened the door, opened the gap. Godley now starting to get closer and closer to contention with those top three, but we're running out of laps here. We are less than 5 laps away from the end, folks, so these drivers are running out of time to make some moves. They need to get it done, and they need to do it now. If it isn't the track creator in the chat, welcome. Good to see you out here. Hope you're enjoying the show. Looks like we do have a bit of an issue, though. Troot is down in 5th. Troot has missed. Either missed or the DC of the controller again. But he's down in 5th now. It's all of a sudden turned on its head. What happened? I have to ask him what happened after this, but jeez. Brutal to happen to him after such a good fight. Looks like 2 races on the trot. Race 1 he had a controller DC, and now here looks like he has had a massive drop too out of the blue. It was in fact a miss. Thank you, Troot, for confirming. Wait, Troot, you're in chat. How? What? Anyway, how unfortunate for him here. Frustrating, no doubt, but a brilliant race up until that point nonetheless. Now, final couple of laps to go. Godley and Dark are going to have a bit of space between them, so the fight isn't really going to happen between those two. And now we have a case where we have an LDAC podium, fully dominated by the 3. E-Man, Dark, and Godley are going to make this an LDAC sweep through and through, which is an interesting and sobering thought. This team has certainly shown a bit of dominance out here in Split 2. Solid midfield or mid to high pace team can hang it with the best. We check on some of the other drivers. See, the Juice has got a substantial gap between themselves and the rest of the field, so it looks like they missed a checkpoint at some stage. And this is going to be unfortunate for them. We'll check on Sunken as they are chasing down Master Lee. Looks to go for an inside peak. Doesn't quite get it on Master Lee there. And everyone else has mostly spaced themselves out around the grid. I think they like the horn. The unfortunate audio desync making this a little bit of a detached experience. And oh, big slides. Bit too much there for Sunken. And that is going to dash their hopes of taking that P9 anytime soon. The Master has managed to get a fast couple of corners. Get a few tenths of a second, a crucial few tenths of a second breakaway. Looks like Bear might have an opportunity on his hands, and in fact we'll switch his POV over in just a minute. As they are on the back of Corolla. And there is a chance to take that P6 on the penultimate lap. Or into the final even. Right, let's take a look as we have got Bear's POV right here, side by side with Corolla. Can they get a bit of a better run? Tucking right in. Trying to get even just the tiniest bit of slipstream, now coming up to the braking zone. Goes a little bit deep, does Corolla, compromises the exit speed, but not enough to drop the position. Final corner now and into the final lap. Big push coming here. And Bear is really hungry for that spot. Are they going to go for a desperate run? See if this move can get completed in the next couple of corners or so. Of course, we want to catch the leader crossing the line. Solid move. Oh, big contact. The tap steer you can see there from Corolla, just keeping it under control here. Squeeze as much as you can to the left side. Go as defensive as you're allowed. Trying to hold it to the outside, but Corolla has the apex and a bit of a rough slide. Barely holding it in together, but as we come through the final corner, it is going to be Geeman crossing the line. Meanwhile, a solid race from them, undisturbed, and a really, really strong performance out there. They're not going to take the fastest lap, though. That is once again going to go to Dark in an impressive feat there. So big ups to them. Let's see what the rest of the field is doing as they all peel through. That's going to be Bear taking P7. And the racers are going to be now closing up their race efforts. That's going to conclude Split 2, ladies and gentlemen. And that is time. So, of course, the fastest lap on the trot twice over. Dark is going to take it. And Dark is going to be quite an impressive showrunner in this whole ordeal. So, proud of you first and second. But not to be outdone, Geeman takes the win of race 2 in the similar way that Dark did, managing to get an early breakaway and now being able to claim a win in their favour, with Godly taking P3. MX, Troot, Corolla, Bear, Noctron, Master Lee, and Sunken with your final rest of your 10, and then Oceanics and Juices Loose being down at the lower end of the field to wrap up our Split 2 race. So, GG's to all. Yeah, we did see MX. You went into reverse. And I gotta say, unfortunate, but you held your own really well. You still retained solid results. And you did amazingly well there. So, this is where we take a bit of a break, folks. We're going to get ourselves ready and set up for Split 1 as we speak. But don't go anywhere, of course. We've got much more racing to show you. We've got much more to come for tonight, as Split 1 is about to get underway. We've got plenty to talk about. So, at least for the time being, stick with us. Been an amazing audience thus far, and for those of you who have raced in Split 2, commend you all. And that same goes for the other splits. You've got Splits 3 and 4 as well as part of HTCC. It's not just the ones we broadcast, and we have got plenty more action to show you all. But we're going to take a quick break. Going to hear a bit of a word from some of our fellow Horizon communities and fellow Forza projects, and we'll be right back with you after the short ad break.
This is Forza Horizon 5. But what if we could make it something more? Find hundreds of custom maps to enhance your experience. Welcome to the Forza Creators Guild. And creators we trust.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you for a bit of a chance to catch everything. If you do want to check out any of the communities that we have had just on the screen, we should have the commands. There is a command for it, Twisted. I'm not sure why it's working. Let me just see if it's maybe bugged out a little bit and see what exactly is going on. So if you want to catch any of the communities, you should be able to get yourself in there with the invite just by hitting exclamation mark HRA, exclamation mark RH. Apparently FCG isn't working, but we will get that fixed in due course. So this is where we head to Split 1, and this is where it gets very exciting, very interesting. Now I am super pumped to talk about this and to see the racers in full. Now, we've got everyone in the lobby now. We are almost ready to go. I believe that we are just waiting for one more car. I believe it's Serrana we are just waiting on. But we have got quite a race ahead of us. We're going to see about getting that command fixed for you while we wait as well. Twisted. Here we go. Do exclamation mark FCG. There we go. We'll just get that fixed in the background, but of course, for those who missed it with Split 2, we are now about to start with Split 1. In an ironic twist of fate, we were meant to have Hoki joining us for the Split 1 cast, but we've been going too smoothly. We've done too well, folks. So we've actually sort of beaten the time slot with which he's able to sort of get a free moment and join us for the broadcast. Maybe for Race 2, who knows, we'll see. But in an ironic twist of fate, we have done too well for our main host to get here, and we are gonna be moving on with Split 1 in that sense. So yeah, Split 2 went too smooth, and now we've got a situation where we are about to start Split 1, and that time pocket is almost been outpaced, you could say. And with that, folks, we have got, of course, a reminder for those who haven't been here for Split 2. If you're just joining us for Split 1, of course, welcome. And we have got ourselves quite an exciting race. So the Lodge Raceway has been our hosting for the last 2 races with Split 2. Now it's time to get us rigged and ready for Split 1. Key things to note, of course, is the racers that we are going to be seeing out on track. We saw quite a qualifying session. We saw, in fact, ESV Vinny. It was not Mars who took the top spot. It was Vinny this time. And although Vinny isn't going to be streaming, I don't think that their POV is going to be up, which means that we will be taking it off the list. They managed to qualify 17 milliseconds faster than Mars, which is quite an insane margin. And also, these two are going to be a 10th.5 clear of the next closest driver, which is going to be Barcode. So this is where... Sorry, just trying to see at the same time where all my POVs are. And my camera actually blocks part of my monitor, annoyingly. So we have got now everyone in the convoy, I do believe. We're just waiting for Serrano to get themselves in and get themselves set up. Doing the sort of rivals reset to be able to be actually seen in the convoy. But we do have Vinny, Mars, Barcode as your top 3. We have Pav, K1Z. We've got another ESV driver in green in P5 in the link. Crazy to see. Out of the top 5, 4 of them are ESV drivers. It really goes to show you the kind of team that they have got over there. So you've got Green, you've got Aston, you've got Shaggy Scroll, you've got Snowy, you've got Serrana, Fuwa, Neko, and Strix completing your roster. And what a roster it is, because this entire grid is split by barely any time at all. It's an insane grid, it's an insane roundup, and again, I want to stress, 17 milliseconds between Vinny and Mars. This is going to be a heated race, to say the least. But enough for that now, because we are surely just a couple of moments away from getting everything ready and rigged to go. As we do have, I'm just double checking here. Just double checking that we can get everything ready to go. Where are we here? Let's see. Looks like the map is officially getting started, folks. Ironically, Twisted, I cannot find an invite link for FCG to fix the command for you. But we'll have to worry about that a little bit later. Let us know, of course, out of the drivers that we've mentioned who you're looking forward to seeing. Oh, beautiful. Perfect. Let's yoink. I'm just going to grab that here. And there we go. Exclamation mark FCG is now working. Thank you, Hoki, for that. And with that, folks, we're about to go trackside. Let's do this. And let's see what these racers are capable of. So we are jumping in now. And we've got ourselves on board with Fuwa first out. They are going to be down in P10 here in Quali and the start of the race, which means that we're going to have a great view of everything that kicks off in those first few laps. There's something I'm noticing here. The front end of that car, very raised, very high up. So maybe sort of tilting it back to try and go for a bit of a lower drag coefficient on the car. So very sharp. There we go, exclamation mark FCG now working. So any of the communities you saw during the ad break should be able to do an exclamation mark and be able to catch it all there. Gonna have to be very careful with sound levels as well, because we do have a lot of copyrighted music in some of our POVs. And here we are, we're on board with Fuwa, as they're going to be starting in at P10. We might see if we can catch any other drivers. So we have got many POVs to choose from. We have 7. And Fuwa will be our starting point. Of course, let us know who you're rooting for in the chat as we get ourselves ready to go. Everyone quick to get in formation. Split one, they know the drill. Wasting 0 time with it. I have Joe on speed dial, Hoki, don't you know? That's how we managed to get it all sorted. Yeah, I'll get themselves set up. Just trying to get a bit of temperature into those tyres, maybe, where the track surface is going to be wet and is going to be super cold. Luckily, being a sky track and not using the natural terrain, there's not going to be any standing water, which means there isn't going to be any major obstructions. There's not going to be any chance for those tyres to suddenly run cold. So yeah, get those track temps, get those tyre temps up to where they need to be, and let's see what we can get out of these drivers. Favourite PSG Hellcaster. Well, I got put down to F3 for this season, so I don't know about favourite. But no, that's another story. I wasn't actually demoted. Although that sounds like Coke thinking about it now. Anyway, moving on. Penultimate corner. Of course, 22 laps. With the formation, 21 laps of racing. But split one now. First racer 2. The track is hot here for round 3 of HTCC. Let's see how the best do it. Let's see how Split 1 makes it happen. And we are away immediately. Going for some attacks. Serrano's going to make it a 2-3 wide. Big send down the inside. Already chaos happening in these first couple of corners. Snowy is going to be on the outside of Fua as they try to retain some early game positions. There's going to be a couple of peaks left, right, trying to hold spots. Bit of contact between Fua and it looks like that was Aston as they try to get a bit of early positioning and get things calmed down. Serrano managing to get up into P7 following that early move. And Scroll is going to be just up ahead. We'll have to check in with some of those drivers yet, but Vinny has got an early gain. And we got Paradise City, but Scroll is going to take a bit of a hit. There's going to be a second-hand punt there as they're going to take a tap on the back. And unfortunately, all the way down, Skaggy is going to be, I think, all the way down because of a checkpoint or a bit of a rough run in there early days. Not ideal there. Neko going to be going for a move on Serrano as well. That's going to be also a move from Aston. Big lags coming out from a lot of this field. Got Strix as well on the chase at the back end of the field. Sharon and Shaggy, sorry. Trying to mix Shaggy and Scroll into the same word. They're looking for spaces. Looks like a lot of the fighting is once again at the bottom half of the grid. Serrano and Shaggy still fighting for that same area. Aston now up into P6 and has really got themselves a bit of a breakaway. Now there's a massive gap between themselves and Pav. They're going to have to fight hard to be able to catch back up again. So far the field is looking fairly stressed and fairly early days. Looks like there's going to be a lot of movement, particularly for that P3 and maybe even that P2. Let's jump on board with Mars, see what's happening over his side. As he's on the chase, Vinny is in the crosshairs. Clean move. And we're going to see how these top two drivers handle it. Just trying to keep it gripped up. Mars goes narrow. Vinny goes for a bit of a wider washout to get some exit speed. Vinny proving to be the racer that's able to get a bit more momentum, at least out of this first sector. Meanwhile, if we check on with Green, got Pav behind, Barcode in front. Let's see if there's any movement between those drivers. A little bit of a wider entry into that corner. Trying to exit a little bit narrow. You can see it going a bit more aggressive over some of this grass in an attempt to chase down some space and some time here on the board. A little bit of a wider wash from Barcode through that penultimate corner as we head up into we're already on lap 5 here, folks. Yeah, Vinny with solid, clean driving lap after lap, proving themselves and showing why they were able to get pole position. Out on these early stages, it looks like it's still anyone's game. Let's check on board with the likes of Serrano, as we are going to sort of bring their audio right down to prevent copyright having me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we've got a bit of a shake-up here, as it looks like we've got ESV P1 through 4, but Pav is going to be hot on the heels. And many other drivers are going to be looking for an opportunity as well. The field has mostly stabilised, though, that being said. Fuwa in P7 and Shaggy in P10 looks to be the only major drivers under some serious threat. You can see that P1 through 5 would have been nuts tag if not for Barcode having the 1% as well. Yeah, the chase is on. Back to Green. We can see he's gone for the move on Barcode out of the final corner. He is going to hold Apex here. It's going to go a little bit deep. And maybe we'll see Barcode go for a switchback. No, he opts to yield. And is going to accept the P4 heading in through the next couple of corners of lap 6. Hardcore racing being had from these top drivers. Now, looks like Mars and Vinny have got a bit of space between each other now. Mars not able to close that gap, or at least a retaining proximity, if slightly behind. So Pav and Barcode having a little bit of a duel of their own, as Pav is going to put some serious pressure down on the 1%. Aston could get an opportunity here as well to chase down and make up some time, owing to these drivers fighting and continuing to pressure each other's space. Good chunk of the field has managed to balance itself out, has managed to gap itself out. A bit of engine brake as well, going to be proving favourable. Shaggy is going to go for a move on Snowy, but I don't believe we have a good view of it, unfortunately. And we might be able to catch something from Strix's side. It looks like things have mostly passed. Looks like Fuar and Neko are going to be fighting for a little bit. The engine braking proving a very useful tool in the pocket of these drivers right now. Use it to full advantage, and you can see right there Strix is going to be doing exactly that. So shout out to Strix, because I think that's the first time I've ever seen the digital version of H Plus being used in the wild. I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually use it. I made it purely so that everyone had a fair experience, but everyone I saw mostly had the analog. Here we go. Looking around a little bit. Strix is under some pressure, speaking of, as Serrano is trying their luck. Maybe going for a P11 here. Peeking down the left side. Little bit later on the brakes. Takes the apex of the corner. Does afford the space to Strix, who does manage to keep it alongside, but doesn't really have the exit speed to claim the corner like they would have hoped. Space being left by both. Good sporting. Little bit of a wider washout there for Serrano. Strix is going to remain narrow. Go for a bit of a narrower line. Get a bit of a gap. Although no real slipstream to speak of. Pav has managed to get past Barcode in other news. Unfortunately, we don't have a POV, I don't think, so we won't be able to catch that. And Serrano has gone on the inside and managed to take P11. So Pav and Barcode are going to be drivers to watch as things progress here. Neko, we're going to quickly check in with as someone we haven't really seen their side of things throughout. And chasing Fuar down. Fuar doing pretty well, the P7 right now. And looking mostly unbothered, unperturbed by the competition surrounding them. And we'll also check in on Aston, because they will have a good view of what's happening between P4 and 5. Barcode has managed to get a bit of a run back on Pav and retake the P4. It isn't going to stay that way. I'll have to wait and see what happens to these two as the fight continues to rage. We will be soon coming up to the halfway point of the race. And there will be a bit more pressure on these racers to make some moves and make them count as well. Good to see all the friendly faces in chat, of course, as well, by the way. Very happy to have you here. Keeping the show moving forward. The HUD scale very small on Aston's front. Of course, minimise the information that's in the way of you in the racing. Looks like Pav and Barcode hunting down and chasing the spot. I like how Aston, there's something we're noticing, is that they sort of go off the limit of Gear 2 rather than shift up and immediately shift down again. Wonder if that's sort of helping their pace in this instance. Yeah, well, the controller overlay is only for us on the front end. They're not going to be seeing that in their race, of course. It's like Pav is putting on some serious pressure on Barcode. Really trying to close that gap and make it a bit more of a challenge for him. Goes on the inside. Holding the line, holding the apex. Pav is going to go for it. Try and make it count as we come into lap 11 now. Pav's got it. Is up into P4. Holds the line. Remains narrow to go on the defensive. Is there going to be a switchback, though, from Barcode? Bit more exit speed, but Pav remains with a strong resolve to keep that position. They remain side by side. Turns 2, 3, 4. Switchback from Barcode. Slightly better exit and narrower line. They're going to drag race it all the way up into Sector 2 here. Looks like Pav has no choice but to yield back. But no, they stick it in the defensive position. They stick to their guns. They're going to tuck back at least for now, but the statement of intent is very much there. And Aston, you can see through all of this, through their fighting, is closing in, is getting that opportunity to make up time. That's why they wanted them to fight so badly, because look at the top three. Vinny, Mars, Green, they're all so spaced out. Nobody's bothering each other. No aero disturbance, no on-track fighting, and no chance to gain time other than through raw lap-to-lap pace. So now we've got three-way battle for fourth. Barcode, Pav, and now Aston joining the fray. Aston making a bit of contact on Pav. Knocking on the door, so to speak, reminding him he's there. Checking in to get any kind of intel on how they move and how they battle. All different cars as well, mind you. Remember, Aston is in the MG. You've got the Hyundai of Pav, and then Barcode is running the Lincoln Co. But this really is going to be a no-holds-barred battle to see who takes best of the rest outside of the podiums. It looks like we will have a certain celebrity joining us for race 2. Awesome. We will take a break as well, another sort of short ad break to get that set up. So when we do get there, folks, we'll appreciate your patience on that one. But keeping eyes on the prize here. Barcode has managed to establish a bit of a gap between himself and Pav. So Aston isn't going to let that one go so lightly. The rest of the field has mostly displaced itself, so we're going to stick on board with Aston, at least for the time being. Noticing as well a little bit of slide through turns 2 and 3, taking their car almost a bit sideways through those checkpoints to catch it while getting a better line through. Interesting race strategy. So trying to capitalize on each other's momentum and on each other's push laps. The race is certainly going to be heating up. Remember, folks, final 10 laps now. Which means that time is going to be running out. We're in the second half of the race, effectively. And drivers are slowly going to get more and more desperate to make some moves where they know they don't have many laps left. You can leave your laps and leave your attacks till the very end as well. It means that your opponent doesn't have any recourse, no opportunity to fight back. We'll check in on board with these few in a little minute, but we're also going to hop on board with Neko, as they have got themselves in a bit of a sandwich of their own. They've got Fuwa on the front and Snowin behind. They're going to see where they can retain some space and keep position. Lapping with a 105.8, so a couple of tenths behind some of the field further up. Aston, I believe, had a best of a 105.6. But the racers are going to keep at it. They're going to remain challenging. And we'll see what they can do. I was running a little bit of a skill issue. Decal on the boot lid as well. Quality running from the entire field thus far, and plenty of quality racing on display. Let's check on the front of the field. We take a look at Mars, we can see Vinny has got about a 1.5 second breakaway. Mars's last lap was a 1:05.5, so shows the consistent pace he has on display, but it's not enough. Vinny just has the 1 lap pace around this track, it looks like.
It's literally such a simple Bible there, which is kind of surprising.
Looks like they are going to be having a little bit of trouble. Check on board with Green as well, see what his perspective is. It's roughly a similar story. 1:05.4 best lap. And with a few seconds gap to Barco, Pav, etc. He's starting to go a little bit aggressive. Maybe more aggressive than one might be comfortable with, because they did yield on the brakes a tiny bit. High aggression on those lines. Barely keeping it within checkpoints. Really making use of that Link & Co hitbox when it comes to the checkpoint placement. Really solid car control. Really looking undisturbed as we progress through here. Fortunately, we didn't have Vinny's POV going live at the time of the race start, so they weren't included in the broadcast. Looking mighty controlled here from all the ESB folk. And this is where we check on board with some of our other racers. We have Fuwa, who has got a bit of a clean break, but we have Neko also dropping a position as Snowy's going to go for the attack through the penultimate corner, confirming through the final and into lap 17. Neko is going to be dropped down into P9. Strix is down in P12. They have taken a bit of a position hit. And Shaggy is going to be also knocking on the door for a potential spot as well. Very narrow run there from Neko. Not really getting the exit speed. As you can see, Snowy is pulling away quite fast. Shaggy also taking a chance. Trying to read what Neko is doing in order to make a move. Wide exit versus Snowy taking it narrow. Going for a slightly quicker approach maybe through the chicanes and into the final sector. Looking around, the field is stable. And we are in the final 5 laps of racing, folks, keep in mind. How stable this field is does make me interested for race 2. And Vinny has got that clean breakaway and refuses to break concentration. Nothing is going to stop them now, short of a major mistake. Lap 18 to 22. Final 5 laps of racing. It's down to the wire now. Any moves that are going to be made need to be done effectively now. Let's check on board with Aston. See how things are doing with our battle for P4. Pav and Barcode still in the crosshairs. Barcode has got a bit of a getaway though, and Pav is going to be stuck dead in the middle. A little bit of engine braking coming through on the MG side. They wasn't able to get quite the turn in that they wanted. It looks like they have to was compromised with the car at times. Neko playing a bit of a dangerous game. Of course, if they do get the P8 off of Snowy again, they will get pole for race 2. Here we go. There's going to be Aston going for it. Big contact on the side of Pav. Bit of a dive there through turn 3. Certainly a bit of a send. Remember, all of these shenanigans are just letting Barcode get further and further away, and I think it's safe to say at this point, short of any mistakes, Barcode is out of the question, and the battle now does become for P5. That corner is so awkward. It is a little bit awkward, at least sort of visually, but it also could serve as a little bit of a skill check. There's a solid line out of there, and a good exit sets you up very well for an overtake into the second sector with the long left-hander. Pav going a bit wider than they would have liked, compromising the exit speed just a little bit. Aston is going to remain hot on the heels as we head into lap 20. You are into the skill check chicane. Nice narrow line. Good exits from both. Pav taking it a little bit narrower though. Slightly better exit. Although that is not going to leave Aston completely out to dry as they're still within good proximity. Looks like they're catching a little bit. Heading into the second sector now. Going narrower than Pav on this one too. So you're just going slightly more aggressive on the line. Seeing where Pav is pushing. Seeing where they can go even further. Now, left double. This is usually where we see a few overtakes, either where someone compromises the exit of the penultimate corner and they leave the door open on the inside just before starting the next lap. Doesn't look like that's happened. And Aston is still chasing. Pav is putting down a solid defense and refuses to yield an inch. They are not going to get disturbed by the racer behind them under any circumstances. Looks like, meanwhile, Snowy has dropped down into P10. Neko has got themselves up into P8. I think Snowy missed a checkpoint at some stage. Shaggy is up in P9 as well. Looks like there's a little bit of a fight going on. We're going to see if we have any more POVs of this whole ordeal. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. Serrano is down in 11th, so they're not going to be in proximity to catch this one. Snowy apparently running very wide in turn 1 and compromising both positions. There is a bit of a chance here. Shaggy is going to be in between the two. Remember, we are on the final lap now. The leaders have crossed over into the final lap. And while we won't get a chance to catch Vinny crossing the line, we will make sure that we get a capture from another driver's perspective. Tion Neko on the defensive. And the drivers slightly up ahead know that if they're going to go for a move, now is the time. Pav and Aston remain in close proximity. We will check up on them in due course. Solid defense and solid lines here from Neko. Good runnings. Clean. All the way through now. Final couple of stretches, but checking in on Mars. We can see that Vinny is very much up the road. And final couple of corners now. Race 1 is in the books. Lap 22. There's going to be a first place for pole sitter Vinny across the line. And now Mars is going to take that P2 alongside Green in P3. Quality run-ins. And now checking the rest of the field. Vinny also going to take the fastest lap with a 105.379. Checking in the other racers. Fuwa now crossing. Seriously going to be a solid run here, as now we get a better perspective on the entire stack. And now we see the final timings coming through. Now, great job from all. Everyone managing to finish as well, so bonus points for that, because we did see DNFs over in Split 2. Vinny, Mars, Green, solid podium, ESB and Nut lockout. And barely within a 10th of each other in terms of their best lap time. So insane consistency from all three. Barcode just about a 10.5 behind on their fastest and a couple of seconds when it came to it. And then you have Pav and Aston really taking it all the way to the line within about half a second of each other. Now Fuwa, Neko, Shaggy, Scroll, aka Shaggy, Snowy, Serrana, and Strix are going to make your other half of the grid. And we are going to take a short moment here. We're going to take a smaller ad break this time, just so we can get Hoki set up. Get him in here for the second race, as the rest of the drivers are now going to be rigging up. And we'll be seeing you in just a moment, folks. Do not go anywhere, because remember, P1 through to P8 run reverse grid. Vinny's now going to start in 8th position and is going to be back fighting up to the top again. Mars in P7, Green in P6, Barcode in P5, and then Pav in P4, Aston in P3, Fuwa in P2, and Neko is going to lead in race 2. Stay here, folks. Be right back with you.
This is Forza Horizon 5. But what if we could make it something more? hundreds of custom maps to enhance your experience. Welcome to the Forza Creators Guild. In creators, we trust.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and as promised, we do have him. Okay?
I managed to fight my way back into the studio. Sappy barred the doors, but I broke down. I'm back. I'm here, and I'm ready to co-cast Race 2 Split 1. I'm excited to see the content.
Yeah, it took some convincing, I will admit, but he put up a persuasive argument, so I slipped the keys under the gap of the door, and here we are. So now let's get things rolling. I know that you were watching on from, I say, you said you had it on the TV and sort of watching along. And I mean, what did you make of that first race in Split 1 or Split 2, and however much you managed to catch? How did you make of it so far?
I mean, Split 2, as always, is just such good content. You have these drivers that are extremely quick as far as pace goes, but maybe a little bit more rough on the racecraft side of things, and I think it just makes for really exciting racing. And then you go over to Split 1, and everyone is just so consistent and so dialed in, and it's really exciting to watch from that perspective too. But yeah, some good battles in Split 1 as well, and I'm excited to see now with the reverse grid.
Yeah, well, the drivers certainly bring up their A game. That isn't, that's not up for debate. Like Split 2, Split 1, Split 3, Split 4, etc. Everyone brings their A game. Everyone has certainly showed like why they are placed so highly and why they have got some, in such cases, really good points on the leaderboard. And I'm sure there's going to be a big points shake-up in terms of the leaderboard after this race. But now it's going to be the final race. And with that reverse grid, brings content.
Oh yes, no, that is the biggest kind of change we did between Season 1 and Season 2. We had talked about it early on in Season 1, but just never quite made it happen. And I'm so glad it is something we committed to here for Season 2, because it's really exciting. I think it makes for some good content. Well, as we're going to see, all of the ESV boys are going to be having to start from kind of the middle to the back of the pack. And they're going to have to work their way up, and we'll see how quickly and how safely they can do that.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing I'm looking forward to. It's how the drivers can fight their way back up the pack, especially, like you say, the ESV boys. P8 for Vinny, P7 for Mars, P6 for Green. They're going to have some formidable competition. It's not going to be a breeze. Just because they got those top 3 spots does not mean, by any stretch of the imagination, they're going to have an easy time. But it's going to be interesting to see how the grid squabbles and fights for those positions. But looks like we are going trackside, and let's see what these racers can do.
Fantastic. Do we have a full grid of 12? Did I not curse it? I think the Sappy Bless has held strong here into the final split. Fantastic.
What can I say? What can I say, really? The Yapatron has blessed this day, and now we have full grids, 4 out of 4.
I love it.
Spookily smooth today. Army said it best. Eerily smooth today.
It's just in time for the Halloween season. It's a little bit scary how smooth this is going.
This stream has been brought to you by Hokey School of Witches and Weirdos.
I love it. Oh man. We got some early some 360s, that from Aston there. Oh, beautiful.
Aston going for his trademark Beyblade cosplay competition.
And where I think you have the sheets up. Where is Aston starting on that one? What did he finish? P5?
Aston started, is starting, I believe in P4 for this one, because they finished in P5 last race. They were just behind Pav and
yes. A good fight to watch, Pav and Aston there. Yep.
So we're on board with the reverse grid lot. So starting our POV from Mars' perspective, going to be double file with Vinny in that 4th row as everyone's getting in formation and trying to heat up those tyres. Though the cold track temps with the rain, you're not going to have much luck keeping the heat in those tyres at least.
I know, it's tough to know how much of an advantage that back and forth is going to have, especially on a wet track like this. And I got to say, I love that we now have, especially with the Mars POV, the matching ESV liveries, as we're going to be able to watch them kind of work their way through the pack. It's going to be easy to spot the ESV boys.
Yeah, and we look to the front as well, because Neko's going to be leading and taking pole on this one alongside Fuwa.
Yes.
So they're going to have a chance to really make an early statement. Handbrake from Aston and sort of cooking those rears, although flat spotting is probably more accurately the term.
Yeah.
Coming through, though. Final corner, and then we go
coming around
racing.
the final bend.
Final time here at HTCC round 3. Track is hot for the final race. It's race 2, split 1, and we're immediately away. Aston going straight to the inside. Going for a big dive on the inside there. Going for the P1 position already right out the gate. Mars is going to go for an easy send on P3 and is going to capitalize on that window that Aston created. He's up into P3 right now. Big punt on the rear though from Pav. Likely got that second hand. Fuwa going down the side as well. Green is going to keep it consistent and near the middle alongside Vinny. They're going to go double file heading into Sector 2.
Side by side, Sam.
Absolutely beautiful. I cannot believe Aston managed to pull away. Keep on that lead. We do have Neko close behind, though. And the ESV boys already starting to work their way through the pack.
Yeah, so ESB 4 through 7th now, so they have displaced some of the competition. Pav, though, in P3 is going to be the major roadblock to that, and we've seen Pav's defensive driving and what they're capable of. If their fight with Aston is anything to go by, it's a quality race that we're about to see. Fuwa is going to be dropped down, I think, to P8 now, and they are going to be seeing themselves having to fight their way back up again, sort of losing that early advantage. But Neko and Aston take P1 and 2 for now. Jump aboard with Green and see what is going on his side of things. Barcode's going to be sniffing for an opportunity and literally knocking on the door as there's a bit of contact with the rear bumper. They're going for some trades as well with Fuwa. They're going to be side by side. Strix once again down in P12, but Serrano's having a bit of a better time, and Shaggy's in P9 too, so a bit of a recovery from race 1.
Absolutely.
Check in on that battle, see what's going on with Fuwa. They've dropped time now. Barcode. I do feel for Fuwa here a bit. They had a really strong early position.
Yeah, just didn't have a good run out of the gate, but we'll see. It's still early. They're still not far behind. And we'll see if they can defend against, let's see, who's that behind them? Shaggy. And see if they can kind of follow the ESV gang up towards the front.
Well, Barcode did have a bit of a rough turn 1 this lap, so
yeah, that
dropped some
absolutely.
time. Barcode can't regain.
Yeah, and Barcode there.
Might have a chance to get some early pressure on if Barcode can't regain composure in time.
Meanwhile, up at the top, I do have to say, looks like Aston is starting to pull away. I don't see Neko in that drafting range. And so if Aston can hold pace, I mean, it's still early, but if Aston can hold pace, Aston is looking pretty good here.
Team ESB putting up some serious pressure, though, now, as Pav is going to fall victim to Vinny and to Mars now through that final corner, heading into lap 5 here. So Vinny and Mars up in P3 and 4, and Neko with Aston is going to be the next targets. Although not so easily done, Mars goes a bit too deep into turn 1. Pav is going to reassert themselves as a challenger.
Green not too far behind, able to capitalize on this. We'll see if he can get the pass.
Say Neko under some serious pressure as Vinny's already closed the gap quite significantly. And I've got to give a shout to Pav there as well. I see a Team Versatile livery, and that's a bit of a throwback. That's a name I haven't seen in quite a while. Makes me smile. Brings me back. I think it was a Team Wars race the first time I met Pav. And,
oh, fantastic. There you go. Yep.
And I was thoroughly washed. Although saying that, I think that was the same race where I went nearly last to first on.
Well, it's hard to say washed with performance like that.
The trick was I was also self-casting my own race, so I think that's the secret sauce there. If I just yap, I don't think about driving.
Exactly. Yep. You can just kind of go focus mode, zone out, and put down some pace.
Very much. You see
Green
Neko
side by side with Pav, by the way, again, but Pav still managing to hold his own, and yeah, comes out on top, still holding off Green, breaking up that ESV pack.
Yeah, Neko was under some serious pressure from Vinny and eventually has succumbed as they've gone down into P3 now. And Aston has got a clean break. It's about a second of time, but that could be quickly eaten away if that previous pace from the last couple of laps is anything to go by. Pav and Green remain challenging one another. And now we have Mars also going to chase Neko down for a potential P3 retake.
And Fua kind of being able to capitalize, by the way, on the battles here with Pav and Green. Able to close the gap a little bit. Still not quite a second between them, but might be able to move up here and at least throw in some chaos to that action.
Well, the big thing here is that Fua hasn't got a driver behind him to put some pressure down, and that's a good thing in Fua's case, because they haven't got that sort of external stress. And if there's one thing we know about Fua is that they need to be in a clear head to put down their best driving.
Absolutely. And we do, by the way, have Mars working their way into P3. Got the pass from underneath Neko, moving him back down. And now Neko under pressure from Pav.
So quality driving from the top end. Pav is going to go on the inside, try and make it a P5 in Neko's case, as those two are now going to be drag racing. Pav not quite able to lock in the move. Neko's putting up a very solid fight, but Green is also going to be waiting in the wings. This could be three wide. He doesn't go for it, though. I think he chooses a wiser path rather than going for something dangerous.
Absolutely. Especially in the rain, you really have to pick your moves wisely here, because it can go very wrong very quickly.
Either way, good exit from Green here. He is going to put them side by side with Pav, but with Neko ahead, they're effectively boxed in. Nowhere to go. Barcode's going to knock on the door as well.
There we go.
Space not quite being afforded, and Green now going very aggressive with some of the lines on the checkpoints to try and get a bit of a challenge down on the inside of Neko. This is three wide.
3 wide.
Someone's got to yield. Someone's got to give. Green's not going to be... He's not going to be side by side by the time he gets to the corner, but Pav is going to have the inner line. And Green is going to try and follow Pav through as Neko has to take a bit less speed.
Smart move from Green there. Not quite enough for Barcode to slide in as well.
Yeah, that's racing tactically.
Absolutely. Looks like Barcode's going to have the inside here, though. Neko not giving it up without a fight.
Looked like a bit of contact there as well. I'm not sure if maybe part of that slide was from Barcode's tapping.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure with that one. And we've got Fua coming up on the outside as well, side by side with Neko.
Jumping in Fua's shoes. You can see they are now making a serious challenge. Neko has been displaced down to P7. A little bit of frustrated camera shake. Fua's trying to put a challenge down. And now is going to be a bit of a drag race as Fua's trying to stay in contention. Neko has got it back on Barcode with a solid run out of that complex in the first sector.
That was a solid exit. Barcode getting in line behind him. And it looks like Neko will hold the corner.
Closes the door. Very effective move. They just need a bit of space, and then they can catch up to Green and start to keep at least a balance between the two drivers either side.
Absolutely. By the way, up at the top, I got to say, Aston just now losing out to Vinny. Vinny was able to get a nice clean pass on him and move into P1.
Very nicely done. I was about to jump over to Mars's POV to get the best perspective, but as we talk about being in an ESV sandwich, I got an ad for a sandwich. So the irony is
Fantastic.
not lost on me in the comms box.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's one of those moments where Twitch has its limitations, but here we go.
Exactly.
You see
We work
Aston
with what
and
we
Vinny,
can.
they're weaving across the track in Sector 2. Weaving left and right. Aston's trying to get round. Vinny's not having any of it.
Absolutely not.
We're looking for a bit of slipstream, although slipstream isn't all that effective on this course.
No, it doesn't seem to be. Not a lot of long straight breakaways here. And we do have Barcode, by the way, getting the pass finally on Neko. And looks like Fua might also capitalize on that as well. And is currently sitting side by side, battling it out for P7.
Yeah,
And looks like he locked it in.
On the apex. Trying to go for a bit of a switch back on the exit there, but Neko just couldn't really get the line locked down. Fu was up into 7th. Nicely done.
Absolutely. And right behind Neko, we do have Serrana, by the way, able to capitalize on that fight a little bit. And might be Serrana now putting the pressure on Neko.
Have to stick on board with Neko for a little bit then, as the things around him seem to be heating up in a big way. Fua just getting the move. Serrana on the chase. Snowy going to be even closer behind. Much to play for.
Yeah, that definitely seems like that is where the action is happening. Mars still has a little bit of a ways to go to close the gap on Aston up at the top there, but it does look like Vinny is starting to break away just a little bit. Aston's holding on pretty well, but Vinny, as we know, has some serious pace on this track.
Yeah, there's a reason they qualified in pole. Even if a narrow margin, it's a testament to their pace that they were alongside Mars a 1/10.5 away from the next closest driver, which was Barcode,
Absolutely. Yep, yeah, you've got it.
Neko's in a bit of hot water here themselves as they're trying to challenge Fua. Fua isn't really allowing it and not letting him go by. So on one corner, the penultimate corner of lap 11, we saw them trying to go for a little bit of a move, and there was a bit of contact between them, and Fua going a little bit deep, tries to capitalize through the final, and the door just gets closed. So Neko trying their best to get Fua back behind them and maybe fend off Serrana a little bit in the process as they were knocking on the door, but not having any luck, at least at this point in time. We'll see if they can go again, because they are peeking to the left side. Are we going to see a repeat from Fua's perspective? Goes a bit narrower to try and defend.
Yep, good defense from Fua there.
As long as they can avoid contact, that's going to be the main thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, looks like they got a good exit and actually managed to break away a little bit there.
Very nice run through the apex on that one. And
Absolutely.
just need to keep that momentum up now, because for every apex they have got right, we've seen Fua sort of reel themselves back into their opponent's grasp through maybe being a bit overzealous on the braking zones.
Right.
But yeah, very nice moves as well from Neko, so responding very well to Fua's defenses, being able to still make the most out of a bad situation, and despite the two fighting, they have got about half a second on Serrana right now.
Yeah, I mean, despite all the action, they've managed to hold good pace and keep Serrana at bay, at least for the time being.
But look into your order for the time being. You've got Vinny, Aston, Mars, Pav, Green, Barcode, and then Fua, Neko, Serrana, Snowy, Shaggy, and Strix to round it off. We're seeing Mars is about a few tenths of a second away from Aston. Maybe we'll go for the overtake in a few laps' time. We'll check in with them when the time is right, but right now, all the action seems to be concentrated in this bottom four. Or bottom five, sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of just scanning through the grid here. Yeah, it does look like time is starting to close as we enter the back half of the final race. I mean, don't have too much time left to make a move. Mars is a little bit of away from Aston there. I don't know if he's just biding his time or if Aston is really holding pace on him. And then we do have Green pretty close on Pav there, P5 and P4.
We're jumping aboard with Mars for a second. Their last lap was a 105.8, so they're potential in terms of one lap pace isn't quite there yet. We were seeing them lapping in the 0.3s and 4s just in the previous race alone. We know that they're capable of a bit faster, so maybe there's a case to be made that either their confidence or the space on track isn't there. Just lapped a 0.774. You can see Aston being a bit of an obstruction, but no longer. They're trying to go very narrow to try and put some pressure down. Doesn't quite materialize yet.
Yep. Aston able to hold on to that one for now. Aston's best lap, by the way, was a 105.811, so not too far off. It looks like they're holding a pretty similar pace, but Mars is absolutely on the attack now.
Yeah, Mars is on the hunt, goes for the left side. They're going to tee themselves up for an attack into this left-hander. Goes a little bit later on the brakes, very narrow, trying to afford the space where possible. And Aston, nicely done, holds the speed all the way through that long apex and takes a comfortable P2 spot. With a very nice move.
Good, clean pass. Love to see it.
Let's jump aboard with Green as well, because they might have a fight of their own. Pav is in the crosshairs.
You've got Green, chasing down Pav here, and we might see a move coming pretty soon.
You can tell that Green is being held back, however. The best is a 5.4. I know that they're itching to get around Pav because they have been stuck, and we saw the times from the likes of Mars being in the 0.7s in terms of lap to lap. So we know that Green has the pace on tap, just hasn't been afforded the opportunity. Pav once again showing that defensive driving.
And just checking in towards the back here, we do still have Fua sitting in P7, but Neko not giving him up, still putting the pressure on. Yang, again, not too far off. I want to say just about a second behind Neko and Fua. But for now, Fua's still managing to hold on pretty strongly to that P7.
Just about a tenth of a second between Fua and Neko, and that's going to be just enough to keep them in very close quarters and make sure neither of them can really take a rest.
It does look. We've got Green right on Pav's bumper up at the top, by the way. Kind of moving around here back up towards that mid, towards the top pack. And I think it's just a matter of Pav putting up good defensive lines and Green just trying to see if he can make a move, if Pav can make any sort of mistake. But Pav is absolutely holding his own, and I gotta say, holding on pretty strong to both Aston and Mars. Not a lot of distance between any of them.
Pushing the absolute limits, though. I mean, some of these checkpoints are making me sweat a little bit. And
oh my gosh,
these margins.
Yeah, I get a little bit nervous every time I see it, especially with that link, which we do know has a little bit of a wider hitbox. And it just feels like they are going to miss the checkpoint every time, and then they don't. It is a wonder to watch.
Yeah, it's like just to make sure they don't miss the checkpoint, we just see off camera they've got like a little stick. They just roll down the window or like open the window hatch, just sort of poke this little stick out the side.
Exactly.
And that's how they catch the checkpoint.
Just lean their arm out, tap it, and they're on to the next one.
Yep, it's fine. We're golden. We're still good. Green gonna try their best to use that to their advantage, but so far, no dice. Pav is refusing to yield an inch. Aston has been reeled in. Mars has got about half a second on the two. And Green is just trying to see where they can get an opportunity, but there's less than 5 laps left. Chances are running now.
Yeah, we've got Vinny and Mars kind of breaking away from the pack, potentially locking in their positions, but really it's still anyone's game, as we do have Pav actually moving into P3 there. And like I said, anybody's game for that bottom spot of the podium.
Yeah, quality run there from Pav. Not going to take it unchallenged, though, as Green is now going to poke their nose in alongside Aston. Is going to go for the chase on P4. Is it going to materialize, though? Not quite, as Aston got the exit speed and was able to hold a decent challenge. Green tucking back in behind and not wanting to go for hyper-aggressive moves. Although, that being said, they have just fired it through turn 1.
Looks like he heard you commenting and went for it. Side by side through a pretty tight section there. Has to get back behind Aston again, but we'll see what that exit looks like. I think it's going to put him side by side again.
Very clean
And we'll
switchback
see what
from
Green can do with this.
That was a very clean switchback indeed, but Aston is going to have the apex into this corner. Pav is going to get about 0.3 of a second breakaway as well, not to mention through all of this. And we see a bit of a quick chat coming out from Neko. That might be a sign of battles that are happening a bit further down.
Yeah, I did see. I glanced at it seemed like there was a little bit of contact between Serana and maybe Snowy or Shaggy, but I mean, I do see Fua still sitting P7, Neko still sitting P8, but there's definitely a little bit of action happening there between Serana, Snowy, and Shaggy.
We'll keep our eyes trained to the top 3. Or the
Absolutely.
top 5, I should say, right now, because Aston and Green continue to duel. Lap 20 or 22, and it looks like Green has got the move into turn 1. Can they keep it?
Beautifully done, putting the pressure on. Aston getting forced out a little bit there, but reminding Green that he's not giving up yet. Just a little touch on the bumper. But Pav made the right move at the right time and was absolutely able to break away from that fight. And I just don't know if there's enough time now for Green to work his way up. But we'll see what he can do.
Well, time is of the essence here. He's not got really any real chance to get some major time. And we've only got about 2 laps of racing left, as Vinny is just a few seconds away from crossing that line onto the penultimate lap. Is Aston going to go for it, though? Peaks the nose. Not quite committing 100% to that kind of move. We'll see from their perspective exactly what's going on, as they are going to be hot on the chase for the ESV and for P4. Big engine brake, barely keeping the car in control. You engine brake too much, and you can risk putting your car into a little bit of a pitch and spin.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the lack of grip. You've got not only do you have a sky track, you've got the rain, and that makes moves like that a little bit risky. By the way, we have Barcode reminding us that he's still there and knocking on Aston's door. We'll see if he can make a move. He's only got about 1 lap left to do it.
This is where we're going to see any kind of desperate plays, any desperate moves, because really, you're out of time here. Unless you are almost side by side with an opponent, you're not going to get that kind of position unless something big happens. So if there's any kind of moves you want to make, you got to do them, and you got to do them now.
Exactly.
Now,
Oh, Joe in chat, by the way. Shout out to Joe.
hello. Our lobbies have been blessed, and Toki hasn't been here. Coincidence.
Yeah. I think there's some foul play by Joe on that one.
But here we go. Final lap of racing here. And we've got, once again, a nuts lockout in the top 4. But the ESV lockout is going to be broken up here, as Pav is going to be taking a podium if this is to currently stand. I'm not sure if this is going to be their maiden podium or not.
Yeah.
This is their maiden podium.
I think it is. I think you're right. And I love to see Pav holding his own, breaking up the ESV domination a little bit here. And a little bit further back, again, Aston holding his own against Barcode, not giving him any opportunity. And there's just a few corners left. If we're going to see anything, we're going to see it now. But Aston might be able to have this one locked in.
There goes a final racers to go through the final couple of corners. Crossing the line now, Vinny and then Mars to make P1 and P2. Pav's going to lock in that P3 with Green, Aston, Barcode just behind, and a solid top 6 finishing order. Now the rest of the field is going to be starting to make their way through, and we can see final duels to the very end. But in the end of it all, your final grid is going to be as follows, folks. We have Vinny taking once again top honors, 2 races on the trot, although not this time with the fastest lap. That is going to be a privilege afforded to Mars, although only 8 milliseconds faster than Green, so very close contention from all 3 ESVs in that top 5 order. And you can see the rest of the field in full. But GG's! What a race.
Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Phenomenal performance by Vinny. Obviously managed to just barely eke out that P1 in quali and then managed to back it up here with a P1, reverse grid P1, by the way. Worked his way through the pack, held on to that P1, and finished strong.
Finished seriously strong. So it goes without saying, folks, whatever split you're in, if you drove this evening, give yourself a pat on the back. Brilliant racing. It was great for us to watch here. And I'm very glad that I wasn't on my own for the last race. My throat was starting to give way, and it was very nice to have someone to bounce off in the comms box. So, as the owner of the series, and probably the one that should be the head honcho rather than me in this casting booth right now, how'd you find that one?
Unbelievable racing. Honestly, again, you know, we were saying it before, but it's just so fun doing these reverse splits and putting these drivers in a tough position where, you know, they don't get to just qualify at the top and then, you know, hot lap for the whole race. They've got to prove themselves not only when it comes to pace, but when it comes to racecraft and being able to defend and attack and know when to make the move. And of course, being able to do that in the rain, in these front-wheel drive cars on a sky track. I think it is just a phenomenal showing of how good these drivers are. And it shows that, again, I mean, these ESV guys and Pav working their way through the pack, kind of overcoming the adversity, if you will, and still showing us that they can drive.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, they bring the best. And that was certainly on display today. But at least for now, this is where we wrap things. So thank you to everyone in chat for joining us. It's been an amazing set of 4 races this evening. Of course, join that Discord. We want to get people involved. We want to see the rest of the field. And you want to see what the rest of the season has to offer. We've got still quite a season ahead of us, haven't we?
Yeah, we're just kind of over the halfway mark at this point. We've got some very exciting tracks coming up. I think Green's track is next, actually, so Green might have a little bit of a home field advantage on race 4, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, quick just reminder for everyone, if you liked the racing, if you liked what you saw today and you want to be involved, you can head over to my Discord. It's just discord.gg/HokeyHoshi. And you can sign up. You don't need to be there for all the races. If you just want to show up and have some good racing and have some fun, by all means, jump in, and you can still make it to the final 3 races.
Yep, and with that all being said, folks, thank you as always for jumping into a bit of a different scenario than the rest of the season thus far. If you followed my channel, I do appreciate it, but say, Hokey's channel is the main home for this. I do still stream Forza content once in a blue moon, and if you want to stick around for that, you're more than welcome. But in terms of me for now, I'm going to disappear for a bit. I'll put it to our credits, and of course thank the amazing team behind this all. And we'll see you in a little bit for.
And before you do,
rounds.
I do just want to give Sappy a huge shout out in chat here. Massive thank you for casting this event, taking over for me while I had to go parent mode for a little while. So yeah, everybody in chat, huge claps for Sappy. Absolutely nailed it. This was the smoothest event we've had yet. So yeah, massive thank you for that, and I'm glad we got to cast together for this one. All right, that's all I've got. Thank you, guys.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in a couple weeks' time for future round.